Hello friends, my name is Heyman. I'm currently a student at NITI Mumbai. Today I'm going to show you how to perform k-means clustering on warehouse inventory using Excel. So why we need to do k-means clustering on warehouse inventory? One of the classic cases of any warehouse is storage zone optimization, where we have some requirements like high frequency items have to be closer to the dispatch area. So if the dispatch area is over here, we want all the high frequency items to be placed closer to the dispatch area. Similarly, there are multiple conditions what warehouse managers try to accomplish with different product attributes like cycle inventory, value, or dimensions. They have to decide which product to be stored where so that they are incurring the least cost and high serviceability. Now the case which we are going to discuss is related to an e-commerce warehouse where we have more than 35,000 SKUs which are classified under 73 product families. Now the challenge is to bring down this 73 into 5 clusters based on their order frequency and product weight. Like I said, the tool which we are going to use is Excel and the algorithm is k-means. I'm going to show you how to make it a very effective and quick tool on Excel with very basic knowledge of coding. You can see the data on my Excel screen. I have the product family wise, what is the count of orders and average product weight. Let's consider this is the count of orders in a month. And average product weight is for all the products listed in these product families, what is the average weight of all those. So now we need to cluster them. In order to cluster these product families, the first step should be to normalize this data. See, if I'll just plot a scatter plot of this, right, you can see the x-axis, which is the count of orders, is basically the numbers are in thousands, like 5,000, 10,000. But on the y-axis, you can see average product weight to be at the max only 15 kg or so. So if we directly start clustering with this kind of data, what happens is, since the values of x-axis are too large, the clusters will tend to be formed only basis on this particular dimension, that is the x dimension. But that's not an efficient way. I'll just show on the screen. So here you can see a general example where on x-axis the values are from 100 to 200 and y-axis the values are from 0 to 5000. So if you do k-means clustering with this kind of data, what you'll end up having is something like clusters like this. You can see the all clusters are only based on this y dimension. But what we are going to do is we are going to compress the 0 to 5000 dimension into 0 to 1, and also the x-axis, the 100 to 200, we are going to compress it into 0 to 1. So we are making the dimensions very comparable so that they don't have any bias. So now if we perform a clustering with this kind of data, we'll end up having clusters this way. You can see this is a more efficient way of having clusters. So we need to normalize this particular data. So how we do it is, let me delete this scatter plot. Yeah. It is simple. The formula looks like this. I'll just name this as count variable. And the next is weight variable. So for the count variable, the formula goes something this way: P2 minus min of entire column, close the brackets, divided by, again open the brackets, max of entire column minus min of entire column. Now we got 0.189 as that variable. Similarly, we can just fill it for the weight variable even. I can just drag it. So let's fill it for all the variables, all the product groups. So I have somewhere close to 74 product groups, and we'll try to form maybe 5 clusters. So you can see max of this is 1. Similarly, the min of that particular column count variable will be 0. Then the max of weight variable also will be 1 and minimum will be 0. So we have brought down all those variables into 0 to 1. Now I'll just name these product families over here. Once we have this, we no longer need these original data. So let me just hide that to save some screen space. Now we'll add a column. Directly we'll add a cluster column. We've added a cluster column. What we need to do, the first step is randomly assign some of the other clusters. Say we want 5 clusters. I'll just write number of clusters. Number of clusters we want 5. So what I'll do is I'll just use a random between function. Bottom will be 1, the top will be the max of this. Now fill it. Fine, now I have randomly assigned every product family a cluster from between 1 and 5. Fine, now what we need to do is a cluster table we need to create where we have the average value of count variable and average value of weight variable. Cluster 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Average count, average weight. I'll use a simple average formula over here. In range, I will select the cluster column, and criteria I'll give the cluster ID. Then the average range, I'll select the count variable. Now I have for each and every cluster what is the average count. Similarly, I'll take the average weight by using the average F formula. The range will be again cluster range. The criteria will be cluster ID. The average range will be weight variable. Let's just plot this on a scatter plot for us to see where it lies. So now you can see the average of the count and weight are positioned this way. These are called actually centroids of each cluster, right? So you can see all the centroids are pretty close. Actually, our data is ranging from 0 to 1 on both dimensions, but these are sitting close to somewhere 0.25 and maybe 0.2 on the x-axis. We need to somehow spread them out so that we have proper clusters. To make you understand better about our process, I have linked the data to a Power BI scatter plot to see how the clusters are. So right now you can see, since we have randomly assigned the clusters for each point, they are scattered pretty randomly. Here you can see first cluster is all over the place, and second cluster is also all over the place. This is because we did it randomly. So in the further iterations, you will see how this clustering is progressively happening. So now what we need to do is, it is simple. You just select a particular product family and choose the best cluster among the available clusters. The way you do it is, you take one cluster and find the distance from each of these clusters 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and see which is the nearest, so that you can place it in that cluster. The logic is as simple as that. How we can do it is, I will just create one small table here. Here I will just put arts. Okay, now the respective count variable, I will take it using VLOOKUP. Lookup value will be arts, and the table array will be this table, column number 2, search is absolute. Similarly, I will take the weight variable even using VLOOKUP. Now we have the variables of art. So if you just change it to drinks, you will have the new count variable and new weight variable. Now once we have this, we need to find the distance from each cluster. So on the cluster table, we'll just add a column called distance. Okay. The clusters are changing randomly because we have put it a random function over here. As of now, you can just change it to values. How we are going to find distance is, we are actually going to find the squared distance. Use a power function. The number will be average count of this cluster minus the count variable of this particular family. Select it and $it so that it gets freezed. Then the power will be 2, since we are using a squared clustering. Squared distance we are finding. Again, use power function. Take the average weight of this particular cluster and take the average weight of this particular product family. Again, $it, comma 2. Right, now we have square distance from this particular cluster. Now how do we select where this drinks product family has to be placed? It is simple. Among this, whichever is the minimum, that is where we are going to go. So here you can see the cluster number 4 is the minimum for drinks. So on an automated way, if we want to find, we'll use a min function over here, minimum distance. Use a minimum function, select this column, enter, fine. You have the minimum function, but we want a cluster number, so we'll use a match function to find the best cluster. Match. In match, we give the lookup value, that is the minimum distance, and lookup array we are going to select this, comma, the match is going to be exact match, so 0. You can see that we could get the best cluster for drinks as cluster number 4. To find cluster for each of these 73 product families which we have over here, it is simple. We have to write a simple macro code to paste this particular product family name over here in K5, and automatically the best cluster comes up over here in K10, and take that and paste it in that particular cluster column. That's all. It is as simple as that. So let's write a small macro code for that. Open the developer tab and click on Visual Basic. Now insert a module. So write the macro name as sub cluster groups. Now our clusters have to be filled in this particular range, that is from H2 to H74. So I will define that range in a for loop. For each cell in range H2 to H74, closing of a for loop using next cell. Okay, in this for loop what we have to do is, starting from H2, we have to paste whatever is in E2 in K5, and the output we'll get it in K10. That K10 we are going to place back in H2. So the first thing, copying this particular cell and pasting it over K5. That's what we are going to write. range k5 dot value equal to cell dot row comma column 5, that is column E dot value. So this particular line will take wherever the present for loop is. Say if the for loop is running on H4 as of now, it will take the E4, because we have defined here cell dot row takes whatever the row number currently and the column number 5, because we used a comma 5, so that will correspond to E4. So that E4 value is pasted in whatever is mentioned in the LHS, that is k5 dot value, range k5 dot value. So the input step is done. Now taking the output and placing that in H column is remaining. So it is simple. Now you write cell dot value equal to range. We are getting the output, that is the cluster number in k10 dot value. Fine. This is all the code that is required, nothing else. So let's just save this macro as of now, this macro code. You have to save this file as a macro enabled workbook. So before we start, again let's have a scatter plot. So this is my earlier step, but after cluster we'll see how it changes. So I will run the code. For now, click on this green button on the top of the macro window. Now the first iteration is done. So let me just save this workbook and go back to the Power BI window. I will refresh the data and see how it changes. So now you can see all the blues have come to the one side and the oranges are little spread out, but the pink is still here. Still we are going to refine it. So what we'll do is we'll go back to Excel, again run the same macro again. Now again save the workbook. Now refresh it. Now you can see the cluster became more perfect. You can see all the pinks have come to the right bottom and the orange is sitting in the middle bottom, and the blues are little still scattered. So let's do it again one more time. We'll run the code. Fine, we ran it again. Let's go back to Power BI window. Now you can see, so almost the clustering is done. The logic is this: initially, on the first iteration you will not get the best clusters, but you have to repeat the clusters, repeat the algorithm certain number of times so that it gets stabilized. Now I'll click this till it gets stabilized. Now it got completely stabilized. Let me save again and go back to the Power BI window. Fine, you can see the final clusters looks like this. We could completely do the clustering using k-means algorithm. You can save this workbook as your template. The best advantage with k-means is the number of dimensions doesn't matter. Now I have selected 2 variables only here because it is easier for you to visualize. But in reality there will be more clusters, maybe say volume or height, maybe an inventory turnover ratio can also be a variable. So let it be any number of variables, the logic remains same. If variables get added, you just need to add a column just after these 2 columns and again add to the respective columns over here, and calculation of distance remains the same logic, just the file will have some more columns, that's all, but the logic is still the same and it's very fast and very effective. Thank you for watching. If you want to connect with me or share feedback, please ping me on LinkedIn or you can write to me on my email ID. Thank you.